people have the opportunity to numb and tune out reality, and most people are doing that because it's so intense. I think it's probably easier to tune it out, and just even your dreams. Like, I get why people want to smoke pot and just not remember their dreams.
Mic check. Welcome to the Blue Dreamer broadcast, coming to you live. This is the first episode. I've got with me a hip-hop artist, Steelo Free. Say what's up.
Yo, what's up? What's good, yo?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just trying this shit out, man, you know?
Hell yeah.
There's always got to be a first time for everything, man, so...
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Welcome to the Blue Dreamer broadcast. I've decided to not use the term podcast because it's kind of sounding a little dated already to me, so...
Yeah.
I'm going old school and keeping it a broadcast.
Okay.
And actually, just I just have more ideas now. I feel like I want to put everything that I can out there instead of just talk, just interviews. I'm gonna do like DJ mixes and
nice.
Whatever I want to do, I want to put it out there. And
that's a little bit out the box. I like that.
You know, I mean, we always got to try something different, you know, to just keep shit fresh, you know, and like not even trying to be innovative, but just keep shit fresh for myself as much as possible. You know what I mean?
I feel that. Yeah, and on the other side of that too, like a lot of people are starting their own podcasts now, you know, so it's
right.
Like anything you can do to stick out is going to be beneficial.
I mean, there's literally millions of podcasts out there. Yeah. So it's like, how do you be original, you know?
Yeah.
But that's everything. That's like music.
Yeah, I was just going to say that too. Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And it's crazy to me because music never gets old. It doesn't. It's literally infinite. You know, that's how I see it. And because I always find new music that I like.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like within parameters of existence, there's always something there for anybody. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So what's been going on in your head lately, man?
Nothing, man. I haven't smoked weed in about 11 weeks.
All right, good for you, man. Awesome.
I haven't really drank in probably longer than that.
Cool.
So I just been trying to stay focused. I've been in the gym 4 days a week.
Nice.
I just put out the EP last month on the 4th.
So Lights and Shadows.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you for listening. Thank you for that remix too, man.
Oh, dope. Respect, dude. Hey, you know, when I hear things and I vibe, I always want to add my touch, you know, like in some way, in any way. And it's like, sometimes I feel literally like I'm tagging along onto somebody else's thing. But
you shouldn't feel that way.
I can't help it though. That's what I love to do. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, oh, like I want to get down too. You know, like is that cool? You know, but like then I kind of have to prove myself in a way. You know, and it's like
I think that's the artist in you, brother.
Of course, and I know that. You know, and I respect that about everybody. You know, because we've all got ideas, we've all got views, we've all got opinions, but. You know, even that track that, you know, and we'll play it in a little bit, but like even that track, it felt so different. Like it really is different.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To me, that was the one that stood out for me. But when I hear your flow, I'm like, oh, that's like, it reminds me of like boom bap. Like that's why I had to give it that kind of boom bap style.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's just, I'm an old school head, dude. I love, you know, KRS-One is my all-time favorite. MC, so, and then DJ Premier is my all-time favorite producer, so I'm
you're right in there.
Yeah, you know, and I take a lot of influence from that, but then I listen to like Deftones and, you know, metal and you know, I'm all the full spectrum as much as possible, you know. So yeah, man. So Where did you start in music? What musically, from whatever age, like what hit you first to really?
I was just about to say this, but the fact that you're saying you're a hip hop head, man, like that's where it all started for me, dude.
For
Because
sure.
I have memories of just being like, 3, 4, 5 years old or however old I was, and my pops was a DJ, and
Straight.
he had this vinyl collection. So I just remember him playing like, Electric Relaxation by Tribe or a War Tour by Tribe, or even stuff like
Yeah.
freestyle stuff like When I Hear Music,
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Debbie Deb and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
when I was probably like about 20, 21 years old, I think maybe a little younger than that,
Yeah.
my dad gave me all his records and his turntables.
Wow.
So I have all these vinyls from like 93 and before, and it's
You
just
still
like,
have them?
I still got them.
Fuck, how much?
Yeah. There's probably like 6
No, I mean, how
crates.
much? How much to sell? You want to sell them, dude?
Oh,
I'll buy.
no.
No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
no.
I'm kidding. Bro.
Those are my family heirlooms. Right there,
No
you know
doubt,
what I
no
mean?
doubt.
But yeah, but like, I like everything, dude. I branched out probably like I was a hip hop kid probably till like maybe like 8th or 9th grade, and then I started listening to Sublime, and Sublime got me into everything else, man. From there it was like
Dope.
Chili Peppers,
Yeah,
it was The Strokes,
yeah.
and then
Respect.
everything else, bro. I listened to everything from Journey to Adele to Post Malone
For sure.
to Tupac. You know what I
For
mean?
sure. And how old are you, man?
I am 34. I just turned 34.
Okay, so we're not too far apart. We're
Yeah.
literally 10 years apart. I'm 44.
Yeah.
But as far as, the spectrum of music, I think you and I are pretty close. Cause,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I grew up with like Prince and, all that MTV, like heyday era pop, but then like Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, like all that kind of stuff. But then once Nirvana came around, and my brother was the one that showed me Nirvana, and then I was like, oh, I want to play like rock and roll music. That was rock and roll music to me, Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that was cool, but then once hip hop came into and it's so funny, like the first hip hop that I ever learned, like that really stuck with me, like I would say Sugar Hill Gang and like 5 Minutes of Funk and like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, like all that stuff, like the old school East Coast hip hop from like the 80s. That stuff definitely influenced me because my brother would play it and I would hear it. But like when I heard KRS-One, Return of the Boom Bap, I was like, oh shit, like, okay, this is the real hip hop to me. Like, not that the old school hip hop wasn't hip hop, but like that was like the real, like the like refined, like taking the old school, but then like, and then all the sampling and all that stuff, like, cause I'm into beat production, you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that stuff like a lot, but it also goes with music writing, like songwriting to me,
I was gonna say, like, as an artist slash producer slash creator, like, do you feel like you were in the how can I say this? Maybe like the rock domain before you started getting into the hip hop domain? Because I know you're a guitar player.
Yeah, for sure. I started playing guitar first.
Okay.
And so rock was my first. But then, like, I grew up in soul music and, like, James Brown and all that. So
nice.
I think I, like, played guitar that way in a way. Like, I still play very simple rhythmic. Like, I'm a rhythm guitarist. I'm not a lead guitarist. I can't shred or nothing. But when I play, it's with a lot of rhythm, a lot of bounce. And that's just the way I play. I've always played like that. And I don't try and venture out, I think I know like one scale and I can't solo for nothing. But then once I got into like sampling and like beat production, then I love like chopping things up and then kind of reforming things, and it was like, it was a form of songwriting to me, and like DJ.
Yeah, I was a sample based producer for like probably when I started producing, and then more recently, like the last probably like 5 or 10 years, I've been trying to do my best to do stuff from scratch or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when you're a sample based producer, you listen to music differently.
Right.
When you hear like a good like 4 to 8 bar loop or something, and it's just like all instruments or something like that, you're like, oh shit, I can loop that.
Yeah.
or you hear like a certain vocal sample, you're like, damn, like I could put that on a breakdown
Right.
or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a very interesting perspective to have
Yeah.
once you're listening to music as a creator and as a sample based producer. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right. And I think learning to write, like, even singing, like I can sing. I'm a singer. I'm a vocalist. And like I remember being young and like asking my brother and my sister-in-law, like I would play like Pearl Jam and shit like that, and then I would try and sing in key with them, you know. And I was like, does it sound right? Does it sound right? Like I didn't know what key or any of that shit was, but I would try, and they were like, oh yeah, it sounds good. So I was good at like mimicry. Like I can mimic voices. I'm good at doing voices and shit.
Yeah.
But then, like, I think hip hop taught me like pitch too. Like sampling taught me pitch, and like also, you know, just as much as music, you know, because I only learned by feel. I didn't learn by, you know, I took lessons when I was like 14, probably for like a month or 2 months, and you know, she was like, "I'll teach you basic chords, you know, all the open chords." And then she was like, what do you want to learn? And I was like, oh, I want to learn Nirvana, dude. And she's like, all right, bring me a song that you want to learn and I'll teach you. And after that, I was like, oh, I can teach myself? Like, all right, fuck it. Then I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't learn any theory or scales or none of that shit. I don't know key. I don't know that. I know feel. But I think she kind of knew that. She was just like, what do you want to learn? And that just like opened up my eyes in a way. Like, you know, I did this recital one time, and like she was like, write a song and you're going to play it at this recital. And I was like 14 and all the other kids were like 8, 9, 10-year-old kids playing like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on the piano and shit. I was like, fuck, I got to write a song, dude. Like, and it wasn't write a song. It was just like learn a song. But I was like, no, I got to write a song. And I totally just put chords together that I learned and made a song. And like she was just like, oh my God. I was like, well, you told me to make a song. You know, so I did, and that was it, you know. And that's why, like, I don't take, you know, I try not to be hard on myself, like, fuck, I wish I knew scales, I wish I knew theory, blah blah blah. But it's like I do my own thing, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel you. I could feel both sides of that because I started pretty similar too. Like I didn't really take lessons, but my friend taught me how to read tablature. Yeah. So what I would do is I would go on Ultimate Guitar and I'd learn like stuff, like songs that I was really into. Yeah. And I learned chords and stuff like that, and I started to learn. My brother took this music theory class at Long Beach, and he had this book that was probably that big. It was like the size of a notebook. Yeah. And I read through it, so I got a basic understanding of what theory was, and then I read a few other books on like pentatonic scales and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's definitely helped me, but I can definitely see both sides of it because I feel like I'm a little bit more restricted as far as like knowing like music theory and stuff like that, because instead of just trying to go for chords just to go for them, like I'm just like, oh well, that won't work in this scale or that won't work that way. So I feel like it's a little bit self-restricting. So it's a very interesting concept, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot. I think we had this conversation before, but there's dudes that know like theory up and down, or like studied like classic piano and stuff like that. Right. And I think it's a lot harder for them to be creative because they're in the restraints of what they've learned. Right. You know what I mean?
There's
and,
like, guidelines, like, you know, like
speaking of Nirvana. Kurt Cobain, he didn't know music theory.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I think we talked about this before too, but he would just kind of just write by whatever chords he knew and then go off that and go off feel, like you said. You know?
Yeah. And I did the same shit, you know, and like I just gravitated towards those artists that I felt taught me more rhythmically. You know what I mean? Like and then hip hop, like sample production, like chopping shit up taught me like how to fit things together that were two completely different songs. But so like my method is to find, basically I hunt for intros, just intro sounds, solo keys, solo guitar, solo vocal thing, just solo. And then I chop that and then I mesh all these solo parts to make it a song. You know what I mean?
And
and it just, I if I hear it right, then it fits, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's, so I do understand key, but like my own way, like through feel. I understand key through feel in a way, you know, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So do you DJ though at all, or you?
Oh, absolutely. I have these 1,200 techniques that I started on. So
For
I've
sure.
actually learned how to DJ on vinyl, but I
Yeah.
have my turntables are under
Same.
my bed in the guest room.
Okay.
So haven't even used those in probably like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But I do have a controller that I mix on. It's a little bit easier
Yeah.
as long as you know the theory of DJing. Like the theory of DJing is like super easy. That's why I feel like it's very easy for producers to become DJs,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit harder for the other way around.
I trip out on people that don't know what beat matching is, man. They're like, "What's beat matching?" It's like, do you even know what BPM is, bro? Like, that's clutch. Like, you know,
That's the same way I trip out on rappers who don't know how to count bars, dude. I have this one rapper homie, and he's the best fucking freestyler I know, but
for sure.
he doesn't know how to count bars.
Right.
So when I would record him doing verses, all of his takes would be different because
He just kept going and going.
Yeah, because he's not taking into account what rhymes or whatever he's doing on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's structure to any musical endeavor. There's always structure. You know what I mean? Like one thing I've learned doing my solo project, Devotee, is I'm teaching myself to write hooks. Like I never wrote hooks, like kind of in a way, but I didn't pay attention to it. And now I'm more focusing on it, you know, in a way.
Okay.
Because it's the same. It's got to be within this time, and like it causes a flow, and then the flow makes sense, you know, and then you're like, but with those hooks, that's what catches me. That's why they call it a fucking hook, because it catches you, you know what I mean? Like,
dude.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
I think it's very, very, well, I'm not going to say very, very easy, but I think people who can really write hooks really have a gift, because it's a little bit harder for me to write hooks. And then I got two buddies actually. Shout out Theo Roland, shout out G Uno. But they both, like, the way they write by listening to a beat and just catching the feel of it.
Right.
And just making a hook on it, bro, is just like immaculate, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, man, but I've written my own hooks. I've written hooks before, but
for sure.
They don't seem to come by me as easily as I've seen other artists do it, and I just really admire that skill.
I don't think you concentrate on it enough. Not talking down. I'm just saying, like from my experience, I had to like focus. I had to like, okay, I really want to make a hook, like in a real fucking way. You know what I mean? And it's like it's not easy. It's not easy, but I love words. I love English. I love writing poetry. I love, like, I'm a wordsmith. You know, I really am. I can be, you know, written word. You know, I can't rhyme for shit. Like I could, but it'll sound like ridiculous. But but that's why, like, when I hear people that got flow like you, I understand, and it's like, oh, I get it, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, and you got mad flow, dude. Like, that's so sick. And that's what I call it. I've always called it that. You know what I mean? It's like when I hear someone spit a rhyme, you know, and like, and it just flows. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, Tech Nine, Eminem, all fast. It doesn't have to be E40. It doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? Like, I've heard
there's something about writing something so that it rolls off the tongue. Like, I was recording my homie like not too long ago. Yeah. And sometimes he'll just add syllables that aren't necessary. Right. And it's just like, bro, like, you can take this syllable out so that it rolls off the tongue better. Or even sometimes I'll write a rhyme and it'll be the same message, but I'll rewrite it so that maybe like certain consonants aren't next to each other, because certain words don't flow off your tongue next to each other, or certain sounds like as better as other words and sounds do. Yeah,
because it can get blocky, or it can get, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it also has to go with the flow of the song, of the beat, absolutely. Of, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of that whole full spectrum analysis, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And it takes work. It takes a lot. I mean, fuck, I've been doing this shit a long 20 plus years. That doesn't make me any better or any more skilled than anybody. You know, I wouldn't call myself a pro, but I pay attention. You know, like, I listen to everything, and especially myself. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and we were talking about finding your own voice. You know what I mean? Like, and I think any artist that does anything vocally has to find their voice. You know what I mean? How did you find your voice?
Oh, man, it took me fucking years, dude.
Yeah.
I actually...
Same.
You can actually hear records and recordings of me probably like on the Suspect Dead stuff, which is my band.
Sure.
Where I'm like rapping in like an octave higher, my tone's much higher, and I had to learn that I didn't know that it didn't sound good, and so I started. Really
it didn't sound natural, right? Like
then I started to rap more like in the tone that you hear me speaking in now,
right?
Just like a little bit lower and more natural, you know.
Right.
I mean? So,
but it's your speaking voice just loud, you know, like
yeah. It took me a long time to find my voice, and not only that too, but it also took me a long time to find my sound, because I think a lot of artists go through this. But in the beginning of my career, I was kind of just going for more like what was popular or what I thought other people would like,
right?
As opposed to, I probably took like a good year or two between when my band ended and me being a solo artist, where I was like, all right, what music do I like? How do I dress?
Yeah.
What parts of me are me?
Right.
And how do I express that? And the reason I say the way I dress is because like I really feel like that's an expression of your image. So it's like I wear like a lot of like, not really gangster like cholo clothes, but I wear like some Cortez, but I also wear like a Stissy shirt,
right,
or like Ezekiel or Quicksilver. So it's very like Southern California skater, like straddling like the beach and the streets kind of thing.
Long
you know what I mean?
Long Beach style.
Instead of going for like that ratchet, like, you know, hip hop sound or like G-funk or something like that, I really had to like a lot of the work on my last project was like guitar centric, and some of that stuff I wrote like playing guitar and things like that, and a lot of people started to notice that.
Yeah, I could totally hear it. I could hear that too. Very musically, you know, embodied. Like it's not just boom, boom, bap, boom. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It sounds more acoustic, I guess. Acoustically, like, you know, more natural sounding than instrumentation than just chopped up shit. You know, like.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's dope. That's a dope vibe. You know. And
like, thank you.
That's why I like that track. Get High. I like that track. But then I was like, I like your flow too. Now that's why I was like, I want to hear it like this way, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I like how
the funny
different
thing was,
is.
You made the drums halftime from what the original record is.
Exactly.
But the funny thing is, that's how the original record was.
Oh,
the original record was actually called Isley, because I was listening to a lot of Isley Brothers at the time, I picked that tempo. And the drums were halftime like you had them, and I was kind of trying to make more like this deep R&B jam.
Right.
And I liked what I was doing with the guitars and the lead melody and stuff like that, but I felt like it needed to be more upbeat, so I made the track Double Time, which is how it is now, how it's presented on my album.
Yeah.
So I really liked what you did when you made it like a halftime boom back beat.
Yeah,
it gave it a different feel for sure.
Well, my shit's always dark, dude. That's why I'm blue. You know what I mean? It's always, that's just, it's the way it's always been. And like, I used to try and deny it. And I was like, you can't deny it, bro. It's the real. That's the real, you know, and that's okay. Like, you know, I hear the same shit in jazz and reggae, and like, it's all there. It's in everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the biggest parts of an artist, as I was touching on earlier, is really like figuring out who you are and presenting yourself as that. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of artists that get away with, you know, putting up a front or being something they're not. But I feel like you have more longevity and you have more real fans and people who find a real interest in you when you're doing something that just comes from, you know, yourself and within. You know, you're really presenting yourself as it is, and it's much easier to do it that way.
Right, and you know, even in all the experiences that I've been through, and you know, and like I said, I'm nothing, even for myself, close to like being some sort of like big name, you know, artist. It's not about that for me. It's about like, it's about doing what I do well for myself. You know, like. Even this format that we're doing, it's like I always get the gear, I always get things, but like very like minimalistic. You know, my life is very minimalistic. I like to keep things real, just tight and ready to go. You know, because I've endeavored in so many different avenues that I want to keep it tight. You know, because to me, nothing lasts, you know, like it's not that it doesn't last. It's just something for me, like being in bands and like somebody drops out, something falls out and it's like I have to pick myself up and do the next thing, you know, like keep it moving. Like I have to just for myself, you know, and it's like that's just the way I've always been. But I always find some sort of venture in some fucking way, you know, like I always find my way through, and it's because I love being creative.
Yeah,
I love being an artist. I really do, you know, and it's like if I'm a self-proclaimed artist, well then fuck it, so be it, and that's okay. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I'm not trying to get followers or listeners. Like it'd be nice, but at this point I don't care. I just want to be as creative as possible, you know?
Yeah.
And I've told myself, go ahead.
I definitely feel you on that, keeping it simple, because like I was in that band for probably like 8 to 9 years.
Yeah.
And keeping it simple, and as far as like after getting out the band, I was like, fuck playing with a live band. I want to play with maybe just a DJ, or even maybe just a 2-track, because like you said, like when you're relying on outside circumstances to make the thing go that you want to go,
right,
it just gets tough. Like, you know, maybe one guy doesn't show up to practice, or one guy can't do the gig, or one guy doesn't agree with what songs we should play, you know what I mean? So keeping it simple has been a lot of, you know, me continuing my music endeavor and doing what I want to do without relying too much on outside circumstances. Right. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Same, man. Same, you know, and it can be tough at times. Like, you know, I don't know what you went through to record your EP. Like, how long did it take? Like, all in all?
3 years, dude. I started in 2020.
For sure. And how did it start? How did it start?
It started with because I was a solo artist. Here's a quick timeline. I was a solo artist before. Then I was in a hip hop duo. Then I was in a band. Then I was kind of
Wait, when you say band, again, like full band, like live band?
No, so that first band, it was actually more of like a music group.
Okay.
It was this dude, shout out to Robbie Klang, but we had this band called Audio Vice, and he'd write songs on his acoustic, and I'd put rap verses over it. Cool. And we'd go in the studio and make these songs. So when we would perform those songs, we'd assemble a band. You know what I mean? Which is hard to do in and of itself, just because of what we talked about, because then you have to find a bass player, then you have to find a drummer, then you just have to find all these people you rely on. So I was in that band, then I was solo again, and then I was in the band again, and then I feel like as an artist, I was, instead of just focusing on one thing, which a lot of people find like really successful, and which sometimes I beat myself up for not doing, and just, I'm a jack of all trades.
For sure.
So I produce, I DJ, and I felt like at the time I was like, if the world can see me as more than an artist, if I can like produce other people and play instruments and do all these other things, it's going to help my career.
Right.
And I'm not going to say it more derailed it or made it more stagnant, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is that
it makes it harder.
Well, not only that, but my ex, I produced 2 EPs for her.
Okay.
And not only that, but I felt like when I was in the band, I was like, all right, if I'm not just pushing this by myself, but I'm pushing it with 5-6 other guys,
right?
You know, maybe we can make something happen faster than just doing it by myself. So that all to be said, and maybe like 2019, 2020, I just saw the band. We kind of just fell apart, dude. When you're in a band,
it's hard, bro.
5-6 other guys, it's like a relationship, dude.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then when you break up with your band, it's like breaking up with like 5 or 6, you know, relationships at the same time. You know what I mean? I still love all those guys. We all keep in contact. So
I've only been in 3-piece bands my whole life. My whole musical existence. That was fucking hard, bro. Shit, like that was way too hard. Like
we were like, 7-piece for a while, and then a 6-piece.
Oh hell no. No.
So the hardest part about that was going to a gig and dealing with the sound guy who's usually used to 3-piece bands, you know, drums, bass, guitar, vocals.
Yep.
You know, with us, it was like fucking like not only the drummer, but he had like a sample thing he was going on. He had a mic because he was doing background vocals.
Yeah.
Our bass player who was doing vocals.
Yeah.
We had a lead guitarist, and we had me who was playing guitar, and I did vocals, and our keyboardist did vocals.
Yeah.
And at one point we had a DJ, so it was like, you know,
Slipknot and shit.
But to get back to answering your question, I think it was around 2020, like the pandemic, where I was just like, all right, dude, like we had done an EP already, we had done a mixtape, and we had probably like 15 tracks we were sitting on. And I was like, if we don't band together right now in the next year and do a 10-song album and release it, like, you know, I don't think we're gonna even be playing live anymore. So let's fucking get this album done, put it out, see
Right.
where it goes, and that's basically what happened. We took a year, we mixed and mastered all those songs, we put it out as an album. We never got a chance to play it live.
Right.
It makes me a little bit sad, but at the same time, that's just the way the world goes or whatever.
For sure.
But
For sure.
all that to say, in around 2020, 2020, we had put that album out. I had just put out another EP with my ex, and then we broke up that year, dude.
Ooh.
So yeah, my ex is actually the one who's on track 3.
Oh, okay.
I think it's track 3.
I think so.
So it's a song called Love, and the ironic part about it is it's about a breakup, and the way she sings the hook is kind of like more like in a relationship way, like sustaining your relationship and not like a breakup.
Right.
And the first verse I wrote while we were still together, and it's a breakup verse. And I don't know if she felt any way about it, and maybe it was just like maybe me just feeling about what was happening in the near future. But I wrote the first verse in 2020 while we were still together.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the second verse maybe like 6 months to a year later.
Wow.
And I almost didn't put that song on the album, but I'm glad I put it on the album.
No, it's a good song too. Dude, actually, every track is a good track, bro. I actually like that one too, though, a lot. Actually,
yeah. I get really deep in that one. I talk about like the relationship with my parents and how it kind of led me to the train wreck relationship I had with that woman, and and I'm glad I put it out because I feel like a lot of it is based on figuring out what happened with you and taking responsibility for the things that happened with yourself and your personal life that led to maybe the destruction of your relationship, and just taking responsibility and accountability for it. And I think people just need to hear that. And not only that, I'm glad it came out on the album because a lot of people said it's their favorite song and they resonate with it.
For sure.
And as an artist, that it just feels so good for people to validate that because at this point in my career, it's like, fuck the fame, fuck the cars, fuck the whole dream that I had. What I mean? It's more about I can do this shit if I'm broke, dude. Because it's like if all those things fell by the wayside, I still have a guitar on the side of the curb, fucking strumming some chords and writing songs. You know what I mean? Like music's always gonna be in me, so it's like
same. Same. Well, that's why it's so funny, dude. Like, and what we're gonna play I'm gonna play the song I like, and then I want you to tell me what song is your favorite song, and then we'll play them off. But so Get High is my favorite one, obviously. Thank you. I did the remix. But I love that, like, the way I hear what you're saying, and I know it's exactly what you mean, is you're like, I'm trying to get high. And it's like anybody could hear that and be like, oh, he's trying to smoke. He's trying to get, and it's like, no, I'm trying to elevate, bro. And I was like, boom. Like, oh, I love that. Like that just... I was like, I totally hear what the fuck you're saying, dude. Like, I feel it, Mm-hmm. That's why it's my favorite track, dude. Like, but it's even that's already a hook, like right off the top, Mm-hmm. Like that's great, dude. Respect, respect.
Yeah, the thing I like about that song too is like it's a theme that kind of gets mentioned a few times in the project. Is that I try to get high but feel the opposite,
right? And
you get to a point sometimes where it's just like you're trying to get high, feel good, whether it's like smoking or whether it's even just feeling better about the things around you,
right?
And when you're trying to do these vices, like when I was smoking weed at that time of my life, I would just feel down about shit because I'm thinking about my situation and I'm just like, fuck, man,
right?
I'm trying to get high, but I'm feeling low,
right?
You know what I mean? And that's really what that song's about. And that song starts the whole story of the EP, that's why it's the first song, because it starts with me not taking accountability, like I said, me blaming the external forces around me for the things that I'm going through, as opposed to taking responsibility for them, and just trying to drown my sorrows in fucking weed and alcohol and drugs. You know what I mean? And when you get to the end of the album, which is Top of the Morning, it's just like everything's okay at the end. So you kind of have this idea of like,
that's great, and that's fucking
damn,
so
like
it's like a little book. It's a little book. Yeah,
man.
I love it. That's dope as fuck. Respect, mad respect. All right, I'm gonna play Get High a little bit. Just put it out there. Why not?
Nice.
And if you want to say anything over it, see, even the way it starts, it's like guitar. Dude. It's not the beat. It's guitar.
I've been trying to get high, I've been trying to get high, I've been trying to spread my wings, trying to make it to the sky. I don't know where I be going, if I'm closer, if I'm not.
It's very positive to me, you know,
At
like,
the top. I see you in my dreams the night before. I've been trying to cut you out my soul, but I feel the pain from memories. Try to block it out with Hennessy. It didn't work though. Ay, ay, it didn't work though. They never
this is a great
ever told
fucking
me
track,
love was gonna hurt though.
honestly. Yeah.
Ay, it didn't work though. They never ever told me. Yo, I got one lyric pointed at your weak ass heart, and I get triggered thinking about how it all fell apart. I got spirits all around me when shit get hard. They be showing me the light when that shit get dark. Hey, and ever since you left, I've been up on my right mind. I'm hearing voices in my head in the nighttime. I fight the demons I be seeing when I'm sleeping. When I wake up, I just keep my eyes blind to your timeline, and I be feeling like my mind is a prison. Consumed by drug addiction and the alcoholism, and I thought it was written in the stars, but it ain't. Try to give you the galaxy, you still want space, right? Well, I hope you found your rocket ship that can take you far away from this toxic shit. And I hope you bring your friends who be talking shit. And I hope you stand in love instead of falling in. I've been trying to get.
See, that's so crazy because I hear like the halftime.
Yeah.
But it's so different. It's so different.
I see you in my dreams the night before. I've been trying to cut you out my soul, but I feel the pain from memories. Try to block it out with Hennessy. 'Cause ever since you left,
So crazy. Would you consider it hip hop?
I consider it alternative hip hop.
Yeah. What would you compare it to in your mind? Like, so how did it come about exactly? Like, what was, you said it started as the halftime, basically. You said Isley Brothers. So who produced the beat, if I can ask?
I produced it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I produced it. I did the guitar.
So that's all
I did
you.
all the drums. Yeah, I did the synths, the melodies. It got reproduced by my mentor Drew K. So
For sure.
we kind of have this formula where I'll produce, like, I'll record it in my bedroom. I'll bring the demo to him, and then we'll kind of go track by track, layer by layer, and he'll add or take out some stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing. But yeah, I produced it, and I kind of when I went to the studio that day, there were a few songs I played, but one of the biggest inspirations was 1,000 Bad Times by Post Malone.
Okay.
And it's actually a track that's kind of similar as far as being upbeat. It's like a 1-2, like a boom ka, boom boom
for sure.
ka, boom boom ka. So I think Post Malone is a big inspiration for that song. For sure. And a lot of people they didn't tell me they hear like Kid Cudi influence on it. Which I love Cudi, you know, and I'm not the biggest Cudi fan, but I definitely rock with it.
It almost gives me like fucking Outkast, Stankonia, and then After the Fact vibes, you know, especially Bombs Over Baghdad, and then like Love Box and all that after. And I wasn't a big fan of that shit, but I'm not calling it shit. I'm just saying, like, after Stankonia, I was like, what are you guys doing? But I'm just very picky. But I hear that, like, I love the diversity of it. It's not typical to me. You know,
even Hey Ya has that like drum pattern.
Right,
like boom, cat,
right,
boom, boom,
right.
Cat, you know what I mean? Like, and the thing about that too is a lot of hip hop is born from 90 BPM to like 100 BPM.
Exactly.
And this track's like, you know, at halftime it's like I think 82,
right? And
then so you know full time it's like 164 BPM. So it's like it's not your classic drum pattern. You can't mix it into 85% of hip hop songs, but at the same time, like I just like I said, like I was kind of just like going for what I am, and it's just the way I present myself and the way I am is not your typical like. You can't even tell what race I am by looking at me type shit. You know what I mean? So it's like as far as like looking at my musical influence and the things I'm influenced by, it's a myriad of things.
It's
to say the least.
You're like, I'm an amalgamation of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the same way, bro. I'm the same way.
I think that song speaks to that. You know what I mean? For sure. As far as sonically and the way it sounds.
Yeah, and I hear it. I totally hear it, man. Like, and I just love diversity in the musical sense, not in the political sense. But
diversity is an old wooden ship.
You know what I mean? But like, even that word has lost its touch. You know?
Yeah.
But,
for sure.
But that I love it, you know, and because it's so funny because when I make my beats and stuff, they're always in double time. So I don't do anything half time. I do double click to everything, you know, and I learned,
Okay.
I don't remember who I learned that from, but like back in the day, it's like I would do normal time 90, normal time 102, you know, and it was just like click, click. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of slow. And I don't remember, it was a band. I think when I used to start watching videos of bands in the studio, I would just hit the click, like, click, 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 click. I was like, damn, that shit's fast. But then it's like,
Yeah.
it keeps you more in time, you know? And I
was just gonna say that when it's double time, when it's like do, not only do you hear the beeps more, so you get a sense of the rhythm better, but also the reason why I started doing that, like when I make, like, let's say I'm making a trap beat and it's like, 72 BPM, I'm gonna make it 144.
Exactly.
And the reason is because when you're going in the grid to like edit the drums, what I found out was when you're doing halftime, sometimes you're not able to edit your marks on the beats because there's not enough marks.
Exactly.
So if you do a full time, you're gonna have twice as many marks. You can edit those, whatever you want to put the sounds on the grid.
Yeah, and you don't have to go to like 1/32, like, you know, sliding.
Exactly.
You got a little more room to find. Yeah, no, totally. And that's, I'll never forget. I don't remember how old I was, but I was just watching bands in the studio, and the click was like click, 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 click. It was all fast. I was like, what the fuck? What are they doing? But I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's how you do that shit. So now everything is double for me. I call it double, but you know, you call it full, same shit. So what's your favorite track off your EP? Lights and Shadows on all platforms, Steelo free. Go get it, go check it, download it.
I think all of them are my favorite tracks, but if I had to pick one just to share with everybody on this show, I'd probably say
your most favorite.
Let's listen to Love, bro. Since
all right, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Beating in the same way, just a different season. Maybe even lifetimes, loving for no reason. It keeps getting harder, we keep getting better. Love you through the changes, say it's now or never. Just to give you love.
She's got a great voice, man.
Oh man, shout out to Rain, man. Shout out to Rain for sure.
Right in there. It's good.
I be in my head trying to smoke away the pain. I'm puffing on the blunt, thinking back to better days. And I done lost my mind ever since you went away. And all your closed doors got me in a different space. But they always taught me good things never last long. And I was trying not to write another sad song, but jealousy done put my spirit in a bad spot. I chased the Henny with the bad thoughts, cause my head too big not to think about you. Like the bed too big when I sleep without you. And it's bad for my health not to be around you, cause I drink too much when I drink without you. But you say you love me but you leaving. I'm trying to see the bigger picture, but I'm missing all the puzzle pieces. Episodes in the season got me thinking. I'm trying to battle all my demons.
In the same way, just a different season. Maybe
Very like 90s R&B groove to me, man.
loving for no reason. It keeps getting harder, we keep getting better. Love you through the changes, say it's now or never. Just to give you love. 'Cause I'll give you love.
Sometimes I try to get high, but feel the opposite. When you be running through my mind, across my consciousness, I'm trying not to make the same mistakes my father did. Subconsciously in his footsteps I be following. I feel ashamed that you walked out like
dope,
my mama did, when she was sick and tired of all the broken promises.
So-
and when I look
so-
up in the mirror, I acknowledge
Who is your biggest influence vocally right now? Like, I mean, I'm sure it's, like we said, an amalgamation, you know, it's not just one thing, but you have a very distinct, the way you just cut your lyrics, like the way you're cutting your voice, like it's very choppy, but not like in a blocky way. It's just cut and dry, you know, like I hear it.
As far as rapping, probably my biggest influences are probably Jay-Z and Tupac.
Okay.
As of right now, Larry June for sure, like presently. You know what I mean?
Who's that? I'm not familiar with that person.
He's a Bay Area rapper.
Oh, for
and
sure.
he the way he raps too is actually like in his lower register too. So
For sure.
I kind of just been inspired by that. But
How long did it take you to get that? Like, how long did this take to record all the vocals?
Not long, bro. I'm pretty fast.
So this is all recent. Like, there wasn't through a span of time.
So her vocals were recorded in 2020.
Oh shit.
And I did the demo vocals of my verses between 2020 and probably like 2022, but
no, the final
my final
everything.
her vocals are original from 2020.
Okay.
My vocals are from like probably 2022, and I did it all in one studio session.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been the last like over a year, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Just getting it all pieced, like all fitting together. Damn.
Yeah.
So you already had the flow, like the.
Yeah, I had already listened to it a bunch of times, and that's the thing too. Like I noticed that, you know, to work in the studio and be proficient, especially as a rapper, what you really want to do is, I mean, there's a lot of people that work a lot of different ways, but
sure.
I found the way for me, especially because I'm still kind of old school with it, whereas I'm not just like making the songs up on the spot.
Right.
And I'm kind of more about the lyrics or whatever.
For sure.
I'll write my verses, and the verses will be written and in my head, and I know how I'm going to flow over the beat for probably a long time before I record it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Officially in the studio.
Yeah. I mean, from demo to final product, there's a lot of, well, that's, you know, I mean, like, I'll be at work, you know, I'll come up with like a guitar riff, and then I'll kind of start branching it out into a song, and then I'll put like some drums behind it. And then I'll be like at work, and like, I haven't touched it for a month, and then it comes back to me, and then I start getting ideas for words, and then I write them out, and then I'll go into my car and like do vocals on my phone just for ideas of melodies and, you know what I mean, like configuration. And then, but that's the thing is like, I still feel like I have to rely on other people for like a full production, like a full like.
Okay.
I've always tried to do my own production at home on like GarageBand or on Logic, but like when I did my Devotee recordings with my friend Bill, like I was like, fuck, I only want to work with you now. But then it's like he doesn't have time, and I'm like, I want to do more, dude. Like.
Yeah.
But I have many ideas that I sit on, you know, they're always sitting. How many more ideas do you have than just this? Like, how many more songs, or how many more, like, a lot? Like, do you sit on a lot of things, or do you get a lot of stuff out?
There's a lot of stuff
steadily.
I'm sitting on right now, and sometimes I'll go back. There's probably like 2 or 3 songs that I have that I just want to like, and they're like sample based or like cover based. So I actually have this song, Mr. Telephone Man, which is like the New Edition song.
Okay.
But I redid it like in a G-Funk style, where I kind of have like a synth bass playing the bass, and
interesting.
My homie singing the hook, and I'm doing the backgrounds of the hook with like a talk box and stuff like that.
For sure.
And I kind of want to go back and release it. I just got to write my verse on it. So there is stuff where I'm just like the way I'm doing it the same way as you, where I have like certain parts of the song written or produced already, and it's still waiting for like me to write the lyrics or things like that. But I have like a few ideas in the chamber, you know what I mean? Right now I'm just trying, because as an artist, you want to stay consistent, but you also don't want to let the pressure of being consistent force you into putting stuff out before it's ready.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm a big believer in taking my time with stuff, which is why I think, you know, even though it was a 6-song EP, it took me 3 years to do. Yeah. So,
that makes me more hopeful of the ideas that I have, and for real,
bro. Yeah, I'm
like, all right, cool.
You gotta make sure it feels good, man.
Right. And you know, like, that's why I love technology so much. I really do, dude. I could literally like, sure, I could record a whole song, any style, whatever, on my phone. But to get once I've had a taste of like, oh, this is what real like, and you know, like my homeboy just is very talented. He played drums, he played bass on my tracks, and he did all the production, and it just sounded the way I heard it, you know. And I was like, wow, I've never experienced that before. That was the first time, and now I'm like, oh, I'm hooked. Like I'm like, when you got time? You got time? Can we get in the studio? You got time? You know, and it's like, but I only want to work. Not that I only want to work with him, but that was like my first real taste, and it was my own shit. Like it wasn't the band shit; it was my shit. Yeah. So now I've got other ideas and stuff, but I'll sit on them as long as it takes. You know, it's and that's fine. But I won't do the stuff by myself anymore. Like I can't capture my own vocals cleanly. I just can't. I've never been able to get good. I've just never been able to. Okay. I can get good guitar tones. I can layer everything, but vocals has always just lacked for me for some reason. I don't know why.
Do you mean that in the part of like engineering it, like putting the mic levels at the right level and having the mic at the right
just tonality, tonal wise, like I don't know where my voice fits. Like like I've had plenty of people compliment me on, oh, your guitar tone. I'm like, yeah, sure, but like I was playing guitar before I was singing in a way, you know. So it's like I already know how I want my guitars to sound. And now at this point, I know how I want my voice to sound, but like I haven't found where my voice fits in the graphic spectrum. Like I just, for some reason, I don't know why it's so difficult for me. I think because it's mids, and I work in the lows and the highs, and like my mids are like, I don't know. I really don't know. I see,
I said, it's tough, man.
I see those apps on like Instagram, and it's like, oh, get the perfect like studio vocal fucking thing for $10. I'm like, sold. Like, let me try that. You know, those little apps and shit. All right. Well, before we finish, what books are you into? Any books? Any reading any books?
Oh yeah, bro. So I'm actually reading Autobiography of a Yogi by now. Have you read that yet?
Oh, with Yogi, what's his name? Yes, Yogananda. Yes, yeah. I've never read it. No.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I'm only on chapter 4.
I hear a lot of people recommend that book, and
it's actually the book that Steve Jobs he gave it out to all his employees, and he put it on like the iPads and iPhones that he gave them or whatever. Yeah. A lot of people have read it, but after that, I'm gonna be reading the Bhagavad Gita. So that's next.
Yeah.
I just haven't dived in yet. But
that's
shout
all
out
right.
to you for getting me that.
Respect. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So yeah, bro, I just finished reading Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life by Drunvalo Melchizedek.
Dude, that purple one? Yeah. That's so funny because I had that like in like 2001. Like
oh, shit. Okay,
I bought that shit at this little bookstore where they sell like crystals and stuff. It's not there anymore, but like I saw it and I heard about the Flower of Life, and it was right on the cover, and I was like, okay. And I picked it up and I read it. Like I don't know if I really retained the information, but that's like,
dude, there's a lot of information in there too, and it's a part 1 and a part 2. I don't know if you read both parts or whatever, but the reason why it took me so long to read it was because it reads like a textbook. And the reason it reads like a textbook is because it's written after the lectures he gave about all the information he had. You know what I mean? So that was a really good book.
And I used to watch like Project Camelot. I don't know if you're familiar with Project Camelot.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that was like, it used to be on YouTube, but there was a lot of like the new age stuff. They would make videos and stuff, and he would interview on videos and like,
nice.
You know, and I was into it, but I never really like went full force. Like the first time I really got full into like literature was with the Gita. Like that was the one that just got me, and it was like, this is, and I'm like, all right, check it out. You know, now I'm, you know, but what else? Anything else that's
recently before that I had read Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean.
Sure.
So I don't know if you know what that's about, but it's basically like a book of like ancient knowledge, basically. And it's supposed to have been I want to say it was channeled by someone,
I believe so. Yes.
Who was in a secret magical order or something like that, which I'm totally into. I'm totally into like magic and alchemy,
Yeah.
and spirituality and esotericism and occultism and things like that, and
For
really
sure.
learning and diving deep and figuring it out.
Yeah.
But I read that. Before that, I had read Think and Grow Rich, which is basically a law of attraction book about money.
Oh yeah, no. Somebody, I just heard a podcast and somebody brought that up. I was like, that book's old. Like, not that it's old, but it's like, oh, everybody reads that book, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
No, for sure. It's so funny because I've kind of been in a funk where I haven't been reading, but I keep collecting books, you know, and I'm like,
yeah.
And like, I'll get home from like picking my daughter up, and then she's just like, Dad, you got an Amazon? And I open it. I was like, what is it? It's another book. She's like, another book? I'm like, what? It's the library, bro. I got to make a library. And I'm like, if I don't read them, then you got to read them. She's like, maybe, I don't know. You know? And she's only 4, bro. But I'm like, they're for you. I'm going to pass them to you. But yeah, I've gotten some really good books just to have, you know. I picture myself like 65 on the porch, and it's like, okay, I can finally read these books.
When you finally got nothing but time,
you know what I mean? I got everything. All right, fuck, I can finally read all these fucking books.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We've gotten some good shit, dude, for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Right on, brother. Well, thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming on, and I wish you well, man. I can't wait
man, thanks for having
to
me,
see
brother.
what comes next. Is there anything you've got planned, or are you just riding on Lights and Shadows on every platform?
Now,
Go get it. Steelo free.
Thinking about thank you. I'm thinking about I might do another video for that project. Right now I have 2 videos. Right now I've just kind of been writing. I'm working on 2 or 3 songs right now. Cool. And a few of them are sample based. So what I'm probably gonna do is just put them on like maybe SoundCloud and or social media. For sure. Maybe just make some quick social media videos for them or something like that. But I don't know. I'm kind of just seeing where life takes me right now.
Do you just produce in your house? Like you have your own computer?
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
what do you use in Logic or?
I use Reason and Pro Tools mostly.
Oh, for sure. Dude, Reason. Dude, I used to rock Reason back. I used to rock the OG Reason. And I loved it, dude, because then you could like do all the patch cables and all that. I was like, whoa, and it blew my mind. And like, but then it got crazy by like 5 or 6. It was just like, I don't know. It got kind of political. I was like, what is going on here? Like, what happened to Reason, bro? Like, I loved Reason. It was so realistic to me in a way. Like,
it's super
and it taught me some shit. It's super
simple for me. Yeah, and you're right though, because it's modeled after like a physical studio. So what you can do is press tab and it'll flip all the machines around. And you can like
patch everything yourself, all analog and
to
shit.
The mixer, to different effects and things like that.
Like way before I had any idea of what any of that shit was, dude. Like I was just like, whoa! I just pushed shift and be like, whoa! And they flop. I'm like, the cables flop too. I was like, whoa, that's you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, not only that, but they have a sampler that's pretty easy to use, and also a loop player that you can sample with too. So
Reloop. I used to rock Reloop and all that, dude. I trust, bro. I think I got the disc somewhere around here, dude. Still the old school. I love Reason. That's dope, dude. All right, brother. Well, mad respect. Like I said, I wish you well on your endeavors.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
And just keep me posted, man. I can't wait to hear what comes next.
Yeah, man. If anyone wants to follow me, I'm at Steelo Free, SteeloFree. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's TikTok. If you want to follow me on TikTok, I just kind of do promotional and funny videos sometimes. And yeah, follow me. And thanks for having me on, bro. I appreciate it.
For sure, man. Much love and respect. Anybody listening, I know this is the first episode, but hopefully we can start something new. And we'll see what happens. This is the Blue Dreamer. Dr. I, a.k.a. Devotee, signing out. And hopefully somebody pays attention and tells a friend, and they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends, and we'll see what happens. But
nice.
Much love and respect to anyone paying attention. Peace.